Literally everything.
You might look on the rack right before him, and he's gonna find 100 pairs of shoes that you just didn't see.
It was so dark. He started tumble rolling, bro. I was like, damn, this is the end.
There was a moment where
So what happened?
Mylen was sitting on a rock. I tried to sit on the rock. I missed the rock. I saw my knees like above my face, though. You know what I mean? Like,
Or you speak of meditation and being like turning your brain off, but it sounds like so much self-reflection and existential thought that it seems like you're turning your shit all the way on. So,
I think very sporadically. I just want to keep creating things. I want people to put me in a box. It all makes perfect sense.
hello, welcome anybody and everybody who may be tapping in this fine morning or whenever you might be tapping in. Could be night. Who knows? Wherever you're watching it, YouTube, Spotify, we'll see what's going on. But today is a great day, a monumental one, because today we are embarking on a journey as a unit we like to call the Full House.
indeed.
This is episode 1 of HAUSCAST. Welcome. My name is Jamie Barker. I'm joined with my right-hand man.
Hunter Anderson,
And we also have one special guest by the name of Mylen Walker.
the most special.
Perhaps.
Why is that? What are we a part of?
Full House.
Indeed.
Indeed.
And we are with the creator of Full House, and we're going to dive into what exactly that is today. Mylen, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Mylen Walker. I'm a recent graduate from UC Irvine. I like to think of myself as an artist in a lot of different avenues, trying to expand. I started my own brand called Nobody's Perfect a couple years ago. Just started learning music. I've been doing photography for a couple years. Always been into fashion, thrifting, modeling. I've been in a couple music videos as an extra. Been on sets, multiple sets. Luckily, I've known so many people that have given me opportunities to do cool shit. I'm very excited to embark on this journey with all of you guys.
And Nobody's Perfect, something that we're going to dive into at some point, and also your inspirations and where they come from and stuff. But what we wanted to do with HAUSCAST is, because we have quite a large collective. We have about like 25 people in one group. Everyone coming from different places, everyone having different inspirations, different avenues of where they're trying to travel. Thank you. So we want to, with HAUSCAST initially, we want to highlight and we want to give profiles to the members of Full House, starting with Mylen, because Mylen is the one who created Full House and is the one who found his inspiration for Full House. And where did you find that? Like, when was the moment that you figured out like Full House is what you wanted to call it?
It first started off noticing a lot of the events that we would go to with all of our friends, whether it be like rap events by my friend Damu, anonymous for now, Alvin's DJ sets all around the world. Mm-hmm. I would just always post on Instagram, and I noticed myself posting, "Oh, we brought a full house of people," and I connected that with some material I learned from some of my art classes. There's this German art school called the Bauhaus, which was started by Walter Gropius in 1919. So I just figured it out the other day. Actually, it's kind of funny. It's like 100 years since he started that, and we just started that this year, and that's a crazy ass fucking coincidence.
Did you know that it was coming from that when you thought of Full House?
Yeah, exactly. I just kind of combined the two. I was like, wow, the German school Bauhaus was basically a school that was formed with artists from different avenues, specializing in like architecture, painting, art, design. And the best way to put it is they wanted to reimagine a material world that combined like different avenues within art. So I just kind of connected it with all of our friends. I noticed that we all do cool shit. It's very, very rare that you see so many diverse people that can get along together well and also just do so many different things. Like you mentioned earlier, we have 25 people, which may seem like a lot of people to some, but we're all close to each other. There's people that specialize in photography, videography, graphic design, music, music production, DJing, clothing designing, like literally everything you could think of. We have a tattoo artist. We only look to expand on that. And hopefully in the future, we have this podcast. We're going to create like a creative agency. We recently just got the music LLC label, Full House. I'm just very excited for what we can do with it.
Yeah, so I know that the Bauhaus was a huge inspiration for that, obviously, due to the name. What else has inspired you along this path of creating Full House? What other kind of energies are going into this group that you see?
It's just so genuine. I feel like I was able to mature at a young age, dealing with like my skin disease, and that led to me, forming my clothing company. Of course, like college, meeting so many people allowed me to like break out of my shell and really just like form connections. And I just noticed that we have something special, and I like saw this opportunity. And, after talking to Alvin about it, I remember I told him like, maybe it was like a year ago, I told him like, oh, I had this idea for Full House. It just like kind of stars align type stuff,
Yeah, and who's Alvin?
Alvin Cooper, otherwise known as DJ Nuisance. What a guy.
Yes, sir.
Very motivated. I remember when he first started doing music, I have like Snapchat videos of him DJing in his kitchen in Newport Beach. Also DJing at our old house in Costa Mesa.
The first time I met Alvin was in the midst of a DJ set.
Yeah.
Probably the same. I have no idea though.
Literally. Seen this guy DJing in Europe and Madrid. Brought hella heads to that. Seen him DJ all around clubs in LA, different events. Yeah, we just kind of came together one day after like hitting a museum, and we were like, dude, we can combine both of our brands, Nobody's Perfect and Nuisance, and call it Perfect Sense.
Yeah, and for the uninformed, Perfect Sense is kind of a side group in Full House, I guess you say.
Exactly.
A subsidiary.
Perfect word.
Event planning, essentially, correct?
Correct.
So concerts, everything like that.
Concerts, pop-ups. Want to do like art shows, fashion shows.
Yeah, so clearly that's on pause for now.
Oh yeah,
but
unfortunately.
Yeah, to anyone listening, that is something to look forward to in the future.
Exactly.
So I think we've established, what Full House is a little bit. Let's get more into you. Why don't you tell us, your story?
My story.
Sorry, like where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Compton, California, actually around here, South Central. I was born in Pasadena. I moved to Cerritos, California, like Orange County, when I was in the 3rd grade. From there.
What inspired that move? Was it your family? Or?
My family just wanted to, live like a better life. Like growing up, I never really got to go outside. My mom was like very protective over it. It was like a lot of like gangs, like people literally got like shot in front of our house. My real dad, which I've never met, actually, there's like a drive-by when I was younger, and like my parents explained it to me. That like really left like a bad taste in my mom's mouth. So they basically just saved up money after meeting my stepdad to get us out of there, and I'm very grateful for that because I don't know where I've been right now if I stayed in that city or stayed in this city.
So where'd you move?
Cerritos, California.
You said you never met your dad, right?
I never met my real dad. No.
Is there there's like positives and negatives with anything. You know what I mean? Like what were some? I know there's obviously negatives that come with that, but what are some of the things that like positively that provided to you? Any lessons?
It really motivates me because what my mom has told me is that he wanted her to get an abortion, and he basically like kind of forced her to drop out of school with all the stress. She went to UCLA, so she dropped out pretty much to take care of me. And just from hearing how he treated her, how he
I don't know.
Crazy feedback.
Keep going.
How he treated her, how he would abuse her, it really makes me, think of life in a different way. Think of like women, how strong they are. I try to take a lot of positives. I've already forgave him. I never want to see him in real life. It makes me want to be like the best father figure that I could be, best person I could be. Mm-hmm. So I try to just channel that, negative energy that he brought into my mom's life and my life, and make some positives out of it.
Yeah, I think that's reflected, heavily in what you do, in your brands and your clothing and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, so why don't you keep us moving down your life path here?
Perfect. Growing up, I never really liked school. I know you guys heard of there's gate kids, like gifted stuff. I don't know, school just kind of came easy to me, like just finessing it, even throughout like high school and college. In 8th grade, I finally developed my skin disease called vitiligo. It is an autoimmune disease in which my immune system attacks the cells that produce melanin in the skin. At that point, I didn't even know what was happening. Like my aunt had mentioned it, like, oh, like Mylen's skin's changing colors. I think I was just too young to realize what was going on.
You said that was in 8th grade, right?
8th grade, 13.
How did that affect you, like, at school? People, like, because, I mean, in middle school for me, like, motherfuckers were, like, vicious. Like, savages. Like,
worst people on the planet.
on people's heads, like, about anything. Like,
evil.
were people, like, really upfront? Like, did people, like, make fun of you a lot for it? Like,
I remember this one girl, she just, like, noticed they was changing colors. She's like, oh, your skin's changing colors. And it kind of, like, clicked in my head. Like, she wasn't really making fun of me. And it's weird because, like, that was...
So you didn't even realize
Not even realize it, yeah. That was, like, it's funny, that was, like, the last day of school before summer. So, like, it was a weird timing.
So over summer, did everything start to develop more?
Literally. So during summer is when, you know, like shit hit the fan. It started to spread. I went to like a dermatologist, which was just like a new doctor. Like he was hella young. He misdiagnosed me and said it was a fungal infection. And the way to cure it was to apply like a dandruff shampoo to the applied area. But I remember doing that in the shower, coming home after that, going to the shower, doing it. And I literally remember my skin cells just like rubbing off on my hand and just looking at that. And I hopped out the shower, looked in the mirror, and I was like, what the fuck?
Like you could see it?
Yeah, like literally I could see like my skin. Like, you know when you have dead skin? Like,
yeah.
It was like in my hand, it just literally burned it off. And I was just like, I just broke down, started crying, came out, showed my mom, and they didn't know what to say. It's like, what do you tell your kid?
Yeah, so
situation.
And just for the uninformed, where exactly is your vitiligo?
It's on the right side of my face, starting from the bottom of my lip, going to my right ear, on my neck.
So how was it, or how big was it, like when it first
It was
formed?
literally just this patch right here.
Like, so right next to your lip?
Yeah, right next to my lip, yeah.
Damn. I mean, that's intense, man. So what was the reaction after that? Where do you go from there?
It's just like, it was just a lot to take in at the time. I was just mad at the world. My parents wanted to pretty much just protect me from getting bullied, so my mom recommended that I put on makeup every day. Mm-hmm. And she
like
taught me...
Full face?
Well, yeah, full face because you have to blend it in. So,
yeah.
like, I learned how to put on makeup. So, like, I know where, you know, like, a lot of girls are coming from when they deal with that stuff. It's, like, a lot of work to put in. I would wake up, like, an hour before school to do it.
Yeah.
It's, like, a lot of mixing foundations. I'll use, like, setting spray so it wouldn't come off. At first, I didn't do it. Like, my mom would do it for me. Mm-hmm. So, I spent a lot of time with her talking about it. I know it was very awkward for her, but she really handled it well. And I got to the point where I wanted to do it myself.
Did you start like researching it a lot? Because what's her name? The girl.
Winnie Harlow.
Winnie Harlow. Yeah. She has vitiligo, right?
Yeah, hers is insane. It's like all across her body. It's like it's art.
Have you like
it's an anomaly.
Watched like interviews of her, like anything like?
I haven't watched any interviews about her. Wow, that's interesting. I just seen like her Instagram, and just seeing what she's done in her life is really inspiring.
That inspires all of me. I mean, I always see and I always think of you because I'm like, obviously she has the same shit, you know, but. I mean, she's probably a huge inspiration for everybody.
Oh, easily. Like, yeah, she's different, you know?
Yeah, so did anybody, like, you know, notice that you were wearing makeup?
Over the years, not really. It was very interesting. I feel like some people knew, but they didn't, like, mention it to me.
I feel that.
It was really tough, like, some small things. I was never able to wear white shirts.
Yeah.
Because, like, putting on a T-shirt, you get the makeup on a T-shirt. Like, little shit like that would cause me to have, like, anxiety. Or like I would try to turn my face when I was talking to people so they wouldn't notice that I was wearing makeup.
You would put makeup on it? On your face?
Yeah.
Okay.
All across it.
Like full face.
Yeah. Playing basketball was probably the most.
And that was in high school when you were doing that?
Yeah. And middle school a little bit too. It was just so, it made me feel so this weird because I felt like I had to hide something. And that was the only thing going through my head the entire day. So I'm surprised that didn't affect like my schoolwork. Because there wasn't a time during the day when I wasn't thinking about, damn, like I have this fucking skin disease on my face. Like, why me of all people?
Yeah.
Type shit, you know? So, yeah, like no one really noticed. And like when people would even like allude to the fact, I would just try to like alienate myself from the situation as much as possible.
Yeah.
And so when you hit it though, like, so that was just, so no one even really knew you had it? Or what?
I just told my best friends, like my friends, Jamani, Anthony, Dimitri, like those are my best friends growing up.
Because that was in middle school when that happened. So when you went to high school, did you go to a different like high school than the rest of the kids you middle school into?
Well, like a couple of kids went to the same high school as me. I didn't really tell any of my best friends until like sophomore year. So even my best friends didn't even know. So I tried to like hiding something that huge was just like a lot of toll on my mental.
So like, how old were you, or like, what was the moment when you said like, "Fuck it," like I'm gonna just embrace it, like I'm not gonna hide
When I
it?
got to college, it was January 1st, 2016. I told a few friends that I had this New Year's resolution to stop wearing makeup. And I just thank all the people I met in that first quarter of college. They just really changed my mindset on shit. High school was interesting to me in the sense that it was like a developmental process. I think a lot of you don't know that I used to be like kind of chubby. Like I think at my highest I was like 230 pounds.
We still up there too.
So throughout high school, I kind of just I was growing as a person, but wearing makeup was keeping me back. I think treatment with vitiligo really changed my thought processes too. So in order to like cure vitiligo, there's like topical ointments. There's one called Protopic, I believe, and that's supposed to like heal it over time, but that wasn't really doing shit. Another treatment was that like UV light. So my mom would schedule appointments. I would go to Kaiser Permanente. I was literally so insecure that I would put a hoodie on and bite the side of my hoodie so that no one knew I was wearing vitiligo.
Did you ever do like any research on like the success rate of healing vitiligo?
Oh yeah, like the doctors just told me that like, oh, maybe this might work, but there's no promises, So I was going to these treatments. I would literally hop inside. Imagine like a fucking ice chamber. You hop inside this chamber there's lights that surround the entire chamber, and put on some fucking goggles to protect my eyes, and you literally stand there for like 20 minutes. So it's like
just taking in the
literally
radiation.
just taking in the radiation, and like in that moment, so many thoughts just went through my head. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what am I doing now? Like why am I in this chamber to change the way my skin looks because it doesn't look like a normal person's like skin.
And how old are you when this was happening?
Like anywhere from like 14 to like 16.
Yeah, so are you thinking like, oh, this is ridiculous, or are you thinking like, why me?
Both at the same time.
You did more than one treatment? Like you went often?
Yeah, it's like at least 2-3 times a week.
Jeez.
And it's just completely silent. I would just hear buzzing. So I had to deal with my thoughts.
Would you have to pay for that shit? Or was that through like
That's
health insurance?
insane.
Like,
Health
sounds fucking
insurance.
expensive, bro.
Health insurance.
Okay, that's smooth.
And so how is, dealing with all of this, the hiding it from everyone, trying to fix it, dealing with not knowing the success rate, like how's that making you feel through this whole entire time?
Like shit. I've told all of you guys I've dealt with like depression and anxiety, and that's there are times where I was like, man, like this ain't it.
Yeah.
Like I contemplated suicide like multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
There's times where I literally came home one day and my mom had hella pills in a cabinet. I took some pain meds, went back to my room. I had them in my hand in a dark room, and I was like literally a split second away from taking them. And I don't know what stopped me. I think I thought about like my brother, how I would make my mom and dad feel.
And how many siblings do you have?
I still have a little brother named Rain. I love that dude. I feel like he's more mature than me at some points.
And so how do you, so obviously you don't take them.
Oh no.
Yeah, why?
I wouldn't be here. I think something clicked in my head. It's like, damn, like I'm letting this affect me so much to the point where I don't want to live life anymore. And I never want anyone to feel as alone as I did in that moment. I had no one to talk to.
So is that like the turning point in things, or is there another?
It's a turning point.
And depression and anxiety is like huge, especially right now. I mean, people die every day from committing suicide.
Literally.
So it's like, were there any other unhealthy ways that you know that like were wrong, but you were still doing them? Like, were you like, did you find drugs? Did you find like?
No, I never did any drugs in high school. Never drank in high school. I didn't have my first beer until after party at prom.
And what was that due to? Like, did you just like look at everyone else who was drinking and smoking and all that shit? Like,
yeah, I mean,
what'd you think?
Well, also my friends didn't do it. Like, I think I found a form of escapism in video games. That's why I'm hella good at video games. Me and my friends would literally just play Xbox. And I'm happy I did that. It's Xbox, basketball, and school. That's all I did.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot worse routes you can take than that.
Yeah, and music. Music for sure, too, helped a lot.
So, when did you just say, fuck it, and stop wearing makeup and stop doing the treatment and just, eating that?
Eating it.
Just eating that.
Eating that shit. After I met this dude named Leo Harada. I'll never forget, dude. He's still one of my good friends. A couple people in Full House know of him. There is this one rush party in Newport Beach that we went to. this is the first week of college, so I was really enjoying myself. There's parties every fucking day, meeting so many people, having the time of my life, because I never experienced any of that in high school. I didn't go to any parties or nothing like that.
And real quickly, so you never drank once in high school?
Never. First beer was after party prom. I just took a couple sips.
A little wavy.
The first a little wavy.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is it. First beer, first time I played beer pong was at a first rush party.
You took an L or a dub?
I think I took a dub.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know you got lucky or
I'm a
something,
shooter,
man.
bro. I'm a shooter.
You getting his luck.
So back, what happened with Leo?
So Leo, he came up to me during the party. I was pretty faded. He walked up to me and was like, "Yo, do you wear makeup?" And like, I literally felt like, you know, a movie how it just freeze frame. It's like, oh shit.
That was the first time you've been called out.
Yeah, it's
huh?
the first time I got called out in my entire life, 5 years straight. And this dude just walks up to me with just like goofy ass smiling. He's like, "Yo, do you wear makeup?" And I was like, yeah, I do actually. Like, you're the first person to ever ask me about that. Like, thank you. And then we just somehow got into like, you know, like a drunk rant. He told me about his upbringing, his family, what he dealt with. I told him about my upbringing. And like from that conversation, really just sparked in my head that everybody goes through different shit, especially if you don't talk about it. Like, we all have our different paths. Like, we'll never experience what another person has experienced. And every experience that they had leads up to the person that they are in that point. So I just realized that, you know, like, nobody's perfect. It's just like a simple concept, you know?
And Nobody's Perfect is a brand, right? That you formed after this type of moment?
Yeah. Well, I had the idea, I think before going into college, me and my friend Matthew Cruz, which I started Nobody's Perfect with, he just asked me,
Shout out Matty Kicks.
Shout out Matty Kicks. He just asked me one night, yo, so like, what do you want to do, you know, after college? Like, I know you don't want to like work a real job. I just told him, like, I had this idea, I wrote in a journal, like, nobody's perfect. And I drew up like some like boof ass sketches. I came up with a motto, and that's nobody's perfect, and that's perfectly fine. And I told him, yeah, like, I want to do this. Like, I want to make clothes. And at this point I was still wearing makeup. So like, I just told him about it at that moment too. And then yeah, he was just all about it. I sent him pictures of like this, one of my first logos, and he's like, yeah, let's fucking run it. And like, I'm glad that he hopped on board, because let's say if I were to tell him that and he shot it down, like, I probably wouldn't have started it, because I was so insecure in myself. So he like agreed with it, and I thank him for that.
He said in that conversation that he mentioned that he knew that you didn't want to work like a 9-to-5,
Yeah.
like a real job. Like,
Definitely.
what inspired that mindset? Like, what?
I don't know, like, I think in my head, I realized that I wasn't gonna live a normal life, like with my skin disease, because I really look different than other people. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do either. Like, nothing really like drew attention to me, you know? And I always just loved fashion. It always came back to that. Like, that was my way of expressing myself to other people, because I was a pretty closed off person. So, you know, I was known around school, like, I won like best dress in high school. People like, I told people like I thrift a lot. My mom put me on thrifting. I was like, fuck it, like, why not just combine the two, you know? Because I don't want to go through life drifting. So I'm happy that I figured that out at a,
You might
at a
have to
young
go
age.
through life thrifting though.
Thrifting.
You know what I'm saying? Shit.
That's facts.
When was the first time you went to a thrift store? Like, what was that experience like? Because I mean, you eat up a thrift store.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Eat
I've
up.
seen it.
You know,
For anyone that hasn't been to a thrift store with Mylen, you will not find anything.
And he will find everything.
He's going to find it all.
Literally everything.
You might look on the rack right before him, and he's going to find
I'll find
100,
that shit.
100 pairs of shoes that you just didn't see.
It's funny, the first time I went to a thrift store, I didn't even want to go. Like, my mom was like, do you want to go to the store? And I was like, nah, I don't really fuck with it. Like, and then after a couple of times, she's like, it's cheaper. You might find some like retro shit. And then she would come back home with stuff that she found, and I was like, damn, there might be some cool shit here.
Just lacing you up.
Literally just fitting
I was
me
always
up.
lacing you up.
Much love, dog. Yeah, from there I was like, damn, let's run this up. You know? And I think that's what a lot of my designs are inspired by. Just like stuff you find in thrift store. Some coolest shit. You're like, dude, like, no one has this shirt, but the shit was tough. Like, tough. You know?
So that's what's so interesting about thrifting, is that you get the same thing that you get from like a lot of designer stuff, which is, you know, the one of one type feel to it, where you know that not a lot of people are going to be wearing this.
Exactly.
So continuing on, you know, fashion, what do you see yourself doing with Nobody's Perfect?
I don't like when people like just call it a brand, because I want it to be more than that. Of course, it's not right now. It's just like people just look at it as a brand. But I want it to be like a message that people like live their life by, you know, and they could spread the message by wearing my clothing. And I also love events, like meeting pop-up shops and like flea markets are probably like my favorite thing to do in the world because like you just meet so many people organically, and I just love explaining it to people because like they fuck with it because it's like genuine, you know. It has a meaning behind it, you know, like it has a like genuine idea of what I want it to be. Like they see my face, you know, like they see like the vitiligo. They know it's not like, oh, I'm just making some random fucking brand to make money. Like probably the money's like the last thing I care about, you know.
So no gothic fonts and
No
football
gothic fonts,
jerseys.
no old English, no corny ass fucking motto on it. You know, some real shit.
Yeah, and I mean that's the difference, bro. Like just so many brands like that pop up out of nowhere that are your homies' brands. It's like there's no message or anything behind it. It's just somebody like throwing shit in Photoshop
Exactly.
and playing with the fonts.
Yeah. I mean, to each his own. Like, if you want to do that, then go for it. But
Yeah, absolutely.
the thing with that is, like the people that are really about it, like the brands that are like thriving right now, is that they really want to do that, and you could like see it. 'Cause like all the other ones are just gonna die out.
Yeah. So what are you doing to pursue that?
I'm just trying to stay like motivated. Luckily, I have a fucking home office with Mike Lowry. We literally spent so many hours in that fucking garage, and it's kind of insane. There's literally one time we were making clothes and the fucking light turned off, and me and Mike were telling each other like we're gonna remember this night. It's just like that motivation. I feel like I'm so deep, and people, you know, like people connect me to a brand. So I'm in a point where I've told so many people, told my family what I wanted to do. Like I can't quit now, because I want to be like only letting myself down. I'll be letting people around me down.
So you guys just pushing shit out the garage?
Pretty much, man. Like shout out Tenno, Ajiekwa, what a fucking guy, soccer player.
In the room as well.
In the room as well. Started his own clothing brands. His family's very talented. He first put us on in a heat press in one of our trap houses in Costa Mesa. I remember he brought it over and we were just like so excited. We were like, dude, let's just run this. We were just making some random ass shit.
That shit was just on like the dining room table.
It was dining room table, bro. It was the wildest shit ever.
There's fucking clothes everywhere.
Clothes everywhere, fucking beer cans. The floor is probably the dirtiest shit ever.
That one newspaper that was there for like 3 months on the ground.
The mail would just pile up in front of our fucking door. Oh man, that place was disgusting. I lived on a futon, man. 2 years of my life.
And that shit was mind blowing to me too, though. Seeing how not how easy it is to make clothes. I mean, obviously you gotta have a design, you gotta have like the inspiration, and all that. But it's so attainable as long as you have the ingredients, just like with anything else, you know.
You just have the idea and the drive for it.
It's mad attainable, and whenever you tell people that, you know, you have you have all that shit in your garage. I mean, you know, full transparency, I live with you as well. But whenever you say that to somebody, they're so amazed that like, whoa, you can just make clothes at home like this. You know what I mean? It's not like a factory process for everything.
A lot of people don't really know what goes into clothing production. They just see the final product. You know, so it's very doable. There's like, you can just buy machines. Everything's on fucking YouTube. You search up what you want to do. I think me and Mike have just got to the point where we realized that we could do it ourselves. So there's no point to outsource it and pay like a big buck when we could just literally make it with our own hands. Facts. And I also think that plays a role in how people support us, because we put like literally our blood, sweat, and tears into everything we make. Like everything we package was packaged by our own fucking hands. You know, like we spent hours. Like I'm pretty sure Mike has told me too. When we're making clothes for a specific person, we have that person in mind when we're making the clothing.
Yeah. And so like what, you know, somebody orders a shirt that on your website, what's the process like from order to export, I guess?
So from there, someone makes a purchase. It depends on what they purchased, and I go from there. I'm doing like made to order stuff right now. I feel like that's the best route to take as like a upcoming business. I've learned in the past that, you know, of course there's times where you make something and it's not as popping, and then you're just sitting on product. So like there's no point to do that anymore, because I'm not going through someone else to make it for me. So let's say someone orders a t-shirt, I see what design they ordered. And from there, you know, we're doing like heat transfer vinyl. So we put it in the Cricut, open up the Cricut program, and you choose a design, lay it out, and then you literally just make it from there. Packaging stuff, we're trying to be more sustainable. Found like compostable packaging, print out the labels ourselves, and just drop it off at the post office. Luckily, our house is so conveniently placed that we have like literally everything within like a 10-mile radius. Like the post office right down the street.
And touching on the context of the production, like what do you use mainly? Like what programs do you use when you make your designs?
I use mostly Adobe Illustrator. I feel like that's the easiest one for me personally to use. I wish I was better at Photoshop. I've took like classes on it. It just doesn't click in my head.
Did you just find that in like high school? You find it in college? Like when did you find it?
In college, actually, an old friend named Sebastian, he fucking pirated it for me and fucking put it on my laptop. It was a very interesting day. It took literally the entire day, but he finally gave it to me. And then after that, like the weeks after that, it was like summer. I just literally learned online how to use it to the best of my ability. Of course, I'm still not the best, and I'm grateful that I finally met some artists that are gonna help me do shit so I can focus on other things within the company.
And those other things being,
Well, it's social media, marketing, meeting people, word of mouth, conducting like photo shoots, like video ideas, concept ideas. There's so much that goes into it, but luckily we have, a fucking iPhone that makes anything attainable.
yeah.
It's just knowing how to use it to the best of your ability.
So almost more of like a creative director role.
Literally.
And
yeah.
like what, I know that you said you wanted to do other things besides clothing. And I guess that probably leads a little bit into Full House, but, what are those other things? How do you plan on spreading the message of Nobody's Perfect further than just somebody wearing a shirt?
Well, podcast for one. So I've been doing a lot of podcasts with some other friends. I really want to give like speeches to people, like TED Talk type shit. I was able to give one on UCI campus. That was pretty cool. That's the first time I got to speak in front of so many people. Music, of course, because I feel like music is a great vehicle to push forward a message, whatever you're doing. I love modeling. So like I get to wear my clothes and model them myself and really like encapsulate what I want it to look like, events. And that also plays into music. That's why we started Perfect Sense with Alvin, just so we could, combine our talents together and bring so many people together to spread that message.
You said you did some pop-up shops. What are like some other events that you've put on or put together?
The first Perfect Sense event in Santa Barbara, we did that as a collective event with some kids there. We literally threw it at the top of a fucking mountain. I really didn't
Chalk it up as a movie.
It's a fucking movie. I didn't really even expect that many people to come, to be honest.
How many people come? Don't be humble.
It was at least like over 500 people.
It was a lot.
It was fucking insane.
I rolled down the hill, dog.
I remember. I was right there, motherfucker.
Rolled down the hill, dog.
I thought you were
still
gone,
blame
bro.
you.
I was like, damn.
I blame you for that moment, honestly.
So what happened?
Mylen was sitting on a rock. I tried to sit on the rock. I missed the rock.
So how's that his fault?
Huh?
How's that his fault?
Because he was sitting down on the rock. I want to sat there.
Stumbled down.
Sitting,
Dude, it was so dark. He started tumble rolling, bro. I was like, damn, this is the end
there was
of JD,
there was a
bro.
moment where I saw my knees like above my face, though. You know what I mean? Like,
but it happened in slow motion, bro. Like, if you see a 6'5" motherfucker fall down in slow motion.
I looked up. There was like
It's crazy.
60 people on the line, just like, and I was like, fuck.
Everyone else is just fucking dancing, just bobbing their head.
I walked up.
JD almost fell off a cliff.
I found Mylen's back seat.
Like
woke
like
up.
a cliff?
A cliff.
Cliff,
Like-
bro.
I'm talking to cliff.
About to fall into
had
the
tumble-
depths.
Like you're
My
you're
knees
like
and
stop,
shit.
drop, and rolling, just
Literally.
in some brush.
More OD though. It was bad, but we made it out alive.
Somersaulting.
Some conflicting
Yeah,
stories.
that event was sick, dude.
Bro.
Me and Alvin made like stickers, passing out to people, just drunkenly telling them what we're trying to do, what message we're trying to spread.
Alvin was wearing like a cheetah mink coat.
Yeah, Alvin looked like a fucking
Looking like a fucking
pimp
animal.
out there. Shit was different. But yeah, like events like that is just so much energy, and music brings people together, like art brings people together. So I want to use Nobody's Perfect, Full House, whatever the fuck we're doing, Perfect Sense, as a vehicle to push forward a message. And we have social media to do that.
Speaking of music, who's your main like inspiration music? Especially right now, but in the past, who are some people have like you found inspiration from and you've continued to find inspiration?
Because you just started making music, right?
Yeah, just learning. Luckily, shout out
Love
Austin.
Sick dropping soon.
Austin Ambrose, producer from Chicago. What a guy. He moved out here after a week of knowing us, which is pretty fucking insane. He gave me FL Studio. Just let me log into his account, so I've been learning on there, watching like Skillshare videos and YouTube videos. I would like to say my biggest inspirations, like right now, of course, Pharrell, Tyler, the Creator, Drake, of course, Kanye. But, from knowing all you guys, knowing all of my friends, I've, knowing Alvin, he's put me on house music. I used to like make so much fun of that shit, call it like robot music. Like, what the fuck, who listens to that? But house music is one of my favorite like genres now. And like Hunter's put me on like indie shit. I love like indie rock, like bedroom pop, stuff like that. So my music, I wanted to be a combination of all those things and show like versatility. because like one type of music gets very repetitive after a certain point, you know.
Besides Nickelback.
Besides Nickelback.
The GOAT.
Shout out Chad Kroger.
Yeah, shout out.
Okay. Kroger.
Kroger?
The Krogmeister.
Krogmeister.
Okay, so
So what kind of music are you trying to make? Like when you're sitting down making a beat, what are you going for? Like
what Nickelback album inspires you most?
I can't even tell you a Nickelback album, bro.
on me.
Dude, honestly, I just kind of go by like feeling and ear, and like I love R&B, love neo soul shit. So I also want to make music that's real. I'm not gonna rap about fucking shooting people or like selling drugs. That's not what I do, you know. So I want it to be like real stuff I've experienced in my life. You know, certain situations that I've drawn from, just real shit, and hopefully over time it just develops.
And what's the music roster looking like on Full House?
And we have everything you could possibly fucking need, man. We've fucking DJs, we have music producers, like engineers, we have music artists. Shout out my homie Sarosh, one of my good friends, dropping a single this week.
Yep.
Also in the room.
Flowers.
Also in the room.
Tap in.
We got Mike Lowry learning the bass guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Also in the room.
Also in the room.
Whole
Also
gang
has some
here.
fire music. You know, Alvin's been learning production for years now. Motherfucker works his ass off. It's just like being around those people and like some others. It's like there's no way like I can't do this either. You know, it's like they motivate me so much, and it will be a waste of, you know, my life if I didn't try to do it.
Yeah, facts.
Like we all have good taste. You know, it's like we know what's trash, what's good. Like we're not gonna make trash fucking music. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's the homie John Lewag told me one time that none of this stuff, all of this stuff creative just comes down to having taste and knowing, you know, not what's cool necessarily, because cool is going to be different to everyone, but it's about knowing what looks and sounds good, and beyond that, like, you can learn everything.
That's the beauty of this art shit. It's like everyone has a different idea of what they think is awesome. Like
Exactly.
Like there might be similarities to like taste, but like everyone has a different ear. Everyone hears different shit. Everyone sees different shit that stands out to them. So,
but there is that like that medium, like that like line where everyone can fuck with it. You know, you can see that in like artists like Drake and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like even though everyone has different tastes, if you make some good shit, like it will show because so many people fuck with it.
And where do you see the music thing going? Like, you're just doing it to like drop some shit for fun, or like is this something like you're gonna pursue creatively, like on the level that you do fashion?
I want to do both.
I feel like
I think Tyler the Creator and Pharrell are like perfect example of that. Like Pharrell has Human Made. He's probably known as one of the best producers, if not artists, like in our fucking time. Tyler literally does everything: plays piano, sings, raps, those events, has fucking his own brand. So it's like, why can't I do that? You know?
Yeah. Facts. I mean, the real successful artists out here are just not sticking to one anymore, man.
Yeah, it's like
not. You can't box yourself in anymore.
No, it doesn't work like that. Like as a person, as an artist, you have to keep wanting to progress yourself and evolve. Because like at that point, if you're not doing that, what are you doing? You're just wasting time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you ever find yourself like, creatively drained in one aspect and have another, I guess, outlet like inspire you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be lying if I said I didn't feel like drained at times. It just takes a lot of brain power to think in a certain way, think of new ideas. When I'm feeling like that, I kind of just, you know, distance myself from like situations, from, you know, experiences. I like to spend a lot of time alone. That's when I like regenerate, you know, like get my energy back, and then from there I go. And I like watch a lot of YouTube videos, watch music videos, watch movies, listen to other music that I haven't listened to, and that like gives me inspiration.
And what are you doing mainly to like when you have that alone time? Like, what do you do to kind of distance yourself from everything that's going on around you?
Spend a lot of time by myself, man. Like you guys both live with me. You know, like there are days where you kind of won't see me, or like I won't talk to you. I like to go to the beach a lot by myself. Work out. I think working out's a good escape. It's just as you get like all the bad energy away, you just like you feel way better afterward.
You meditate a lot too.
Yeah, meditation is huge, man.
I'm in depth be meditating.
And what do you use to meditate? Like, you go on YouTube, you like got an app? Like,
there's an app called Headspace. It makes it really easy. There's like these British people that just direct you through the entire thing.
There's nothing more calming.
Yeah, nothing more common
than the red coats.
Shout out Jay Patel.
For some reason,
on me.
on me.
Shout out Jay Patel, man.
For some reason, a British accent is just wildly relaxing.
It was fire. It's just like
The garage.
the garage. Whoa,
British people say whoa.
And meditating is very important. I think people kind of shit on it and say it's like corny, but it's like, why would you call something corny if you haven't tried it?
Facts.
You know, and like we spend so much time in our heads throughout the day. It's time. It's good to shut the brain off and like really figure out how you're feeling, how to change that. You know, what is that feeling coming from? How do you like get rid of it? Because also reading this book called The Power of Now. I like to read a lot. There's just different ways to get to a certain point, you know?
Well, that's interesting because I feel like, you know, you speak of meditation being like turning your brain off, but it sounds like so much self-reflection and existential thought that it seems like you're turning your shit all the way on.
Yeah.
So explain that, man.
That's good. First thing I thought about, you seen those memes where like literally the brain's just like off like and all lit up and shit. It is kind of like
Shout out Trash Can Paul, dog.
It's like
On me. Trash
First
Can Paul,
podcast.
dog.
Oh,
Trash
man.
Can Paul shout
that's
out.
funny as shit.
That'll be right there.
No, but like it's crazy because all throughout the guided meditations they're kind of similar. They literally tell you to not think. So it is, you're using more brain power, but at the same time you're not. And it's a matter of turning the voice off. So over time you get better at that. And you think of literally nothing. And then they give you like 30 seconds and he's like, okay, like think of, let your brain go, think of anything. And then in some of those moments I come up with random ideas. After when he's turned off and then when he says, oh, like think.
What's your best ideas come out of that?
A lot of shirt ideas or like lyrics. I finally started a folder in my phone instead of just like being a whole bunch of random lyrics in my fucking notes. I have like a song folder now.
When you say like you're shutting off that voice, like is that voice your voice or is that like your ego?
It's ego. It's literally the ego. And like when you really start to notice like all the negative thoughts like we have in a day, it's like damn, like that's really not me. It's just a fucking voice, you know. So it's a matter of figuring out like what's really you. Like the way the Power of Now puts it is like there's this being and then you have an ego attached to the being, but the ego isn't you. And that's where like all of our doubts come from, or like sadness or like anger or jealousy. That's like a voice, it's not you.
And how does that like channel, you know, into your creative outlets beyond just, you know, lyrics and shirt ideas? Do you see this like you know, driving your brand in a certain direction that it wouldn't have otherwise been?
No, easily. It's very grounding. I feel like I'm a very calm person. I'll never really let shit get to me. And I can attribute that to like meditation and being at peace.
And that's important because shit is a lot, man.
Yeah.
Even just managing a fucking social media account is wildly stressful.
Yeah, we live like very stressful lives like everybody does, especially with social media. Like we're taking in so much fucking content and media every day. It helps me stay at peace, stay calm and collected. Because being stressful or like thinking a certain way really affects the way you move throughout life and can burn you out, like literally. Thinking about that the other day, it is really hard to separate yourself from your ego when we have, you know, this facade that we put online and Twitter, Instagram, fucking Facebook, whatever the fuck you're using, TikTok. My biggest pet peeve are people that think they're better than other people. Like I hate that shit, and I can like sense it really easily, sense the energy that they exude. I can honestly say that there's probably not one person in the world that has something bad to say about me, because I treat everyone the same. I treat everyone, you know, with respect, how I would want to be treated. I've always thought about, you know, how what I would say or what I would do would affect another person. And that's something I have to do. It's like, it's kind of a lot of stress because I'm connected to this brand that's all about positivity. If I do one fucked up thing, someone's going to, you know, change that and alter and make it something bigger than it is, especially in the world we live in. Like cancel culture is a real thing. So I'm very cognizant about the stuff I do, the stuff I say, the stuff I post on social media, how I treat people, you know, because it's so important. And it's not like fake. It's like just who I am in general. And it just so happens that I have this brand, Nobody's Perfect, you know, Full House, like all this shit. It's just like, it's a way I live my life.
Yeah. And so where do you see yourself taking these? Where do you see yourself in like 5 years? What do you want out of what you're doing in the next couple years?
Hopefully like positive change. I want all of our friends to have a platform for their, you know, creative pursuits, because that's what Full House is. We're like a creative collective, so everyone's doing something different. But like this can be used as a means to meet other people, you know, form other friendships, put yourself on, because, you know, we all work our fucking asses off. So I want us to have like a creative warehouse where all of us can do different things, you know, have a studio in there, have a photo set, you know, have a skate park,
Fucking trampoline.
basketball court,
Popcorn machine.
throw events in there.
Just everything.
Literally everything. Also want to drop, you know, more music. Just keep doing like creative shit, because that's what I think. Very sporadically, I just want to keep creating things. I want people to put me in a box, you know.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I think all of us think like that, which is what separates us.
It makes perfect sense.
All makes perfect sense.
All makes perfect sense, man. I mean, that's about rounds it up. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we're at like 46 minutes now, so I feel like we hit a pause on that guy.
I mean, is there anything? All right, so to the people who may watch this, what do you have to tell them?
First off, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. This is something that we're going to continue to keep doing. Of course, I mean, I could tell anybody this, but be proud of where you are in life. You know, like life is like a blessing. There's certain people that, you know, they wake up and then they're not there that day. They die. You know, they deal with different shit. I just want everyone to be, you know, happy with where they are, where they're going, and like treat everybody with like just peace, happiness, and I just wish the best for everybody.
Phenomenal, man.
That's on God, though.
All right, well, thank you for tuning in to episode 1.
See you next week, friends.
See you next week.
Slap.